Hey everyone, hope you're all doing well. So welcome to the first video of this CSS Illustrations or CSS art series. It's something I wanted to do since it's a fun way to learn CSS and you can also be creative when doing this. So for the first video, we're going to take a look at creating a cloud in pure HTML and CSS. So the way this works is essentially we have three elements here. So we got one here, another one here, and another one here. So these are basically squares in a rectangle with border radius applied. And these top two here overlap the bottom one to give it the illusion to look like a cloud. So that's basically what we're going to achieve here in this video. So let's get started. So here we have a basic HTML and CSS setup. We have an index.html here and an empty style sheet here on the right. So for the HTML, it's going to be relatively simple. So what we need to do is create a div with a class of cloud. So that should do it for our HTML. And moving on to the styling, we're going to need some styles here that will help us for the entire document. So I'm going to copy in some colors that I've created as CSS variables. So we're going to have the background for our document is going to be a blue color, and the cloud background will be a white. And we're also going to have a box shadow color just to make the cloud look a little bit better. So another thing we'll need to have is some HTML and body styles as like a default. So for these, we're going to have the height and width set to 100, padding and margin set to zeros, and the background is going to be the color that we set up here, which is the blue. And we're also going to need to have just an overflow hidden. So another thing that we're going to need here is to have, so for every element, including the pseudo elements of before and after, we're going to have these position absolute. So this will help us pretty much just position these elements exactly where we want to. And another thing, we'll set the box sizing to border box. So this is just to make sure that the elements are sized properly so that the padding and border are included to the total width and height. So they're included but they're not added. Lastly here, we're going to need, for the pseudo elements, for the pseudo elements before and after, since they all need to have a content applied to them, we're going to make this content equal to an empty string and also add a z-index of 1. So now we can move on to styling the cloud. From here on out, we're going to start typing everything out so you can see the process of the styling and what it looks like through each step. So to get started, we can select the cloud element here, and we're just going to set a width of 350 pixels and a height of 100 pixels. Sorry, 150 pixels. We'll also give it a background color with the variable that we set. So the variable dash cloud bg. And if we take a look at that, we're going to see that we have a rectangle here at the top left. So let's center that by doing a, let's see, we go top 50%, we'll go to the left 50%, and we're also going to have a transform, translate minus 50% and minus 50%. So that should center it, and we have it centered here. So the next thing that we're going to do is add a border radius of 100 pixels. So that will give us that cloud-like border that we see in this one, just like that. So another thing that we can do here is add a box shadow, just to give it that little effect. So we'll have a box shadow here. Let's just do 0 for x, 0 for y, 10 pixels. And the color will be for this one, it will be the cloud background color of a white. And we'll also do an inset. So this box shadow will be inside the element, not outside. And we'll do a minus 10 pixels, minus 10 for the y as well. 30 pixels. And the color will be the cloud inset shadow. So for all these values, you can play around with them, but these are the ones that I found worked for this video. So now if we look back at it now, you can see that we have the inset shadow here and just a small outer white shadow over there, similar to what we have here. So moving on now, we need to use pseudo elements here to style the before and after. So this makes it easier for us because it gives us these ghost-like elements, so we don't have to add any more elements to the HTML. So we can do cloud before. So let's give this one a width of 100 pixels, a height of 100 pixels, and we'll give it a border radius of 50% to make it a circle shape. And let's also give this a background color of the same color as the cloud background, just like that. So let's take a look at it. You can't really see much, but it's over here. So we want to position this properly. Let's give this a top of -40 pixels and a left of 50 pixels. And we take a look again, we will see that it's positioned over here. We'll also give this one a little box shadow as well. So we can just copy this part. We won't add the insert because that doesn't work as well as you would think it would, because it covers the whole circle and that's not what we want. So now if we look back, we have this, just like that. So now we also need to do the same thing for the other one, but position it over here. So if we go back and do cloud the after, so we can do the same thing with the width of 180 pixels this time, the height of 180 pixels, and we'll do the border radius the same and the background color the same. So I'll just copy these in. So if we see here, it's over here. It's positioned to the top left of its parent, which is this. So to position this properly, we'll do a top of -70 pixels and a left of 120 pixels. And we'll also give it the same box shadow as we did for the before. So just copy this in. And if we go back now, we can see that this is positioned right next to this one as we wanted. So there we have the same design as what we initially saw. So that's all for this first video of this series. If some of these CSS properties are a bit confusing, let me know if you'd like some videos made to explain them. And as always, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.